And we are live! Hello again, everybody! Welcome back to the Iodrarune Fables. Of course, a quick note about our format before we hop in. The first part of our stream for the next 90 minutes or so will be a game DM'd by me. I am Avalon, she, her, or they, them. And after we do 15 minutes breaks usually, yes?
We do a 15-minute break, and the music's super loud right now.
Is it? Like on the stream or in y'all's foundries?
Yeah, like on the stream.
Noted. I am reducing it. Thank you for checking on such things. In any case, after the break comes back, we will have a different game in a different place about different characters DM'd by a different person. In the current game, it is Tiff that is running it. For now, however, welcome back to the Curse of Tyr'Sol. Before we hop in, let's go around the table and just each of you say who you are and who you're playing. Tiff, you go first.
When we come back to this at some point, we really need to make this consistent, because changing who is first each time just drives me nuts.
See, I thought it was
for it.
I thought
I'm not ready for it.
From my perspective, it was a bit. I didn't know it was bothersome. I'll keep that in mind.
It's consistency. I need consistency.
Not on your life.
I need to know when I'm going so that I'm ready for it. Being called on is like, answer this question. I'm like, I don't know. I think my name's Tiff. I'm playing Laurel. Now I have to, like, she, her stuff things. Sorcerer. Not warlock. Sorcerer paladin. I don't have this prepared.
Yes, this character that you've spent many hours with before and during this game, and
details.
The body that you've spent decades with before and during this game.
This is all details. You catch me off guard and everything goes out of my head. I just don't know what to do, and I'm just like blank, and like, don't do this to me.
Understood. No spotlights on Tiff.
No, it's not no spotlights on Tiff. It's no sudden spotlights where I'm not prepared for it. That's a whole different thing.
Understood. Yes, ma'am. All right. Moving on then. Devin has elected himself second. Please, who are you? Who are you playing?
Hello, I'm Devin. I'm playing Cesario. Cesario Figaro, a paladin of Umberly.
Yeah, you are.
Him.
Woo! Woohoo! All right, cool. And last but only physically least, Cricket, who are you and who are you playing? I meant twice, who are you and who are you playing?
Six of one, half a dozen of another. Hello, I am Vice. My pronouns are they, them, and I will be playing Cricket, our lovable little Kenku rogue, who also uses they, them.
Yeah! This is what I get for looking at the interface while calling on people. I forget their real names and confuse them for their characters. All right, for a spot of DM inspiration, who can tell us what happened last time?
Everyone goes into the group chat. Open up the group session. All right.
I believe in you.
Oh, I got it.
Okay, you do it. You do it.
All right. So last session, we all had a nice little rest inside of the farmhouse. Laurel woke up first, let the dog out, helped out with making breakfast.
I heard you. I heard you with that. Who let the dogs out joke.
After that, Cesario woke up, and then Cricket last, because Cricket likes to sleep in. We started our trip up to Summit. We all hopped into the back of the wagon with Cricket up by the front with... Ooh, I can remember his name.
Like Airy something.
It is not airy something.
Avy something? Evie something? Evi? It starts with a vowel.
It doesn't. It doesn't start with
I know
a
there's
vowel.
a Vari,
It
but
starts
that's
with a
not the
consonant.
name. That is not the name of the farmer. What is the name of the farmer?
Toric.
Cricket hasn't heard it enough to memorize.
Toric. He's a dwarven
Toric.
man.
Okay. So we got into the wagon with Toric, and Toric started steering us on our way. And Cricket spotted a wagon about a mile ahead. Was a little bit like worried about it. It wasn't a crash. There wasn't any blood nearby. But Cricket went ahead and alerted the others, to which we met a individual named Avari. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. To which Cricket is very suspicious of this individual, and everybody else is just so chill. So Cricket is like, what is happening?
Laurel almost had a breakdown about whether or not the cups were alive. I wouldn't say everyone is chill.
Well, I mean, like, chill with the presence of this man, not necessarily his trinkets.
Fair
We're
enough.
going to have to eat the guts out of the sugar cubes. It's not happy.
Yeah,
Anyways,
the sugar
we
cubes all have
introduced
little
ourselves
eyes.
to
I'm
him.
surprised you didn't notice.
Don't do this to Laurel. First you do this to me, then you do that to Laurel. Not cool. Not cool.
But yeah, Cesario and Laurel introduced themselves. Cricket was like, you're not getting the name that these two call me. You're getting the full-on chirp sound of Cricket. And then he made tea for us, to which then Laurel had the breakdown over not wanting to eat the sugar cube automaton's guts and feeling bad about the teacup.
Am I drinking their blood? Oh no.
As far as you can
vampire
tell, the tea set was not Beauty and the Beasted. These, you are invited to be his guest, but the dishes are not the ones asking. Don't sue Disney.
They've got other things to deal with right now.
Yeah, we're not big enough yet to be sued by Disney, which means we can go wild with. No, I'm kidding.
No. Nope.
Sorry, messing with volume sliders.
Silent.
All right, great. It's hard for me to do small movement. Oh, my screen went black for a second there. It's hard for me to do small movements without like being silent. So I just like focus very intently on something pixel perfect for a second. In any case, take your DM inspiration. Thank you so much for that recap, and let's hop back in. So all of you are sort of situated around with your teas, and Toric is just kind of quietly watching things. He seems to be sort of in this position where like he wouldn't necessarily be gung-ho about what's going on, but he's kind of trusting your guys' judgment and just following you guys for signs of like danger or trouble. So he's just kind of staying quiet and observant. After the whole exchange with Laurel and everything, Avari sits back, and you notice he very sort of almost daintily crosses his legs and sits there with his cup of tea and just... So, where are all of you from, if you don't mind me asking?
We all just kind of look at each other, absolutely minding that you ask that. How dare. How dare.
Oh, don't all speak up
Cricket
at once.
will just kind of shrug their shoulders.
You don't know? How unfortunate. What about you two? Are you sure where you're from?
I'm from Wave Mother's Pass.
Wave Mother's Pass. And where is that, if you don't mind me asking, in relation to the world at large, as it were?
Cesario points it on a map, but Claire doesn't remember where it is on the map. Even though they made the map.
Fair
remember
enough.
where
For the maps.
He sort of studies the point that you point to. Is that right?
Yeah.
Well, perhaps I shall have to visit sometime, or is it underwater? I can't help but notice you're more of an... What's the term? You're more of a watery fellow. No, that sounds dumb. In any case...
I'm a fellow, and I am water. Yes.
Then the term sticks. In any case, is the Wave Mother's Pass strictly submerged, strictly underwater?
It is underwater. It's a channel of water in between the regions of oh lord, Claudia and Gesley. The font's so little I can't read it.
We're gonna pronounce that incorrectly and differently every single
Everyone
time
is
it pops
going
up.
to we need to make that consistent, figure out how we're pronouncing that and make it pronounced correctly each time.
You and I
We
did
did
talk
that.
about pronunciations way back on the old server. A million
long
years
time
ago.
And we decided for Jesly.
I don't even
Gisley.
Geesley.
No Geesley, no Geesley. Nope.
What do you gotta get
Gesley.
geese?
I love geese.
Geese are
Ask
vicious.
anybody, and I love geese.
You know what?
I'm a big thing for geese.
I
But...
forgot we said I forgot that we said no foul language on the stream. So
bad.
Well,
yeah.
So bad.
I'm gonna go home and cry.
Yeah,
now.
I know. I'm gonna go cry too.
Psychic
That's
damage.
just...
Is that a D500?
What's that?
That's a
D500
D500,
plus
right?
500, yeah.
Not this time.
Fourth now roll a natural 20 and joke.
What?
Not how that works, yeah.
I had a bunch of dice and I threw in my dice tray.
Oh, gotcha.
It was a 20, a 19, and an 18. It's like, are you serious?
Of course, and you know your actual rolls will be like a 3, a 3, and a 2.
Yeah, that's about right.
That's already too high.
So he sort of studies the spot that you point and listens intently as you talk about the Wave Mother's Pass. And once you sort of finish, he takes a sip of his tea and then just looks toward Laurel. And where are you from?
Oh, well, that's a great question. Offhand, I don't really know where I was born necessarily. But I know that I traveled a lot when I was young, and I was eventually just kind of growing up in the church in Kythos.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Marvelous. Cricket, if you'd like, go ahead and roll an insight check. You're the one who's being very suspicious of this fellow.
Yes, please.
Beautiful.
Oh, I accidentally rolled that with advantage, but I guess the first one was a nat 20.
Was it? Beautiful.
Yeah, the first one was the nat 20.
What luck. I will privately message you something in just a moment.
Ooh.
Just because it's such a good roll. I have to find you though, however. There we are. So yeah, he listens intently to the talk of backstory, and he grills Torek, or he goes Torek as well, and Torek, tells him about growing up on the farm and sort of taking it over when his parents moved away, and eventually meeting his wife from Crossroads, and blah, blah, blah. Long story short, they made a family there, and their youngest daughter is Sarah, the person that you guys encountered and saved. Give me just a moment. If you want, you can talk amongst yourselves for a moment. Turns out I cannot talk and type at the same time. Oh no.
So Laurel will just kind of give Cesario a little bit of a side eye in regards to.
He's gently petting one of the cup puppies.
Puppies. They're just cuppies.
It's a cuppy.
The cuppy. Oh no. I don't like this. I'm gonna have to draw these now. You realize this.
The cuppy leans into your pets, by the way. It does seem to sort of react like a dog.
And you have like the little handle that's just a tail, just kind of like, ooh. Like, no.
Okay, I can't type. If I type, I'm gonna be out of the game for like 3 minutes. I will just say it out loud. It's fine. We're digital. It's hard to do it's hard to do secrets.
My
Cricket,
chest hurts.
while the others are talking and while he's listening intently, there's definitely something deeper than just, idle curiosity. Whatever he's asking these questions for, he's getting something more out of them than just knowledge. Like, it's not just making friends. He's getting something from this. There's a sort of light in his eye and something about the way he moves. If you had to make a comparison, it's akin to someone receiving magical healing. Like, there's that sort of magical, like, motion to his body in a very subtle way, as he listens to the stories and as he inquires about them. You don't get nefarious intent, but it's not as mundane as it perhaps seems on first glance. Animated cups notwithstanding.
Heard. Cricket, for the time being at least, is just gonna keep kind of like watching him. Still a little suspicious, but not like I feel like I'm gonna have to fight you suspicious. At least not yet. But it's definitely like keeping an eye, trying to figure out like what exactly these answers are doing for him.
Yeah, for sure. I may have you roll again in a short bit. But for the moment, he just, after he listens to Torek and asks his few follow-up questions, he just, I'm so well traveled, but if there's one thing that never ever gets old, it's hearing people's stories. I delight in it. There are so many interesting ones. I could visit a place 100 times and hear 150 different stories. Do any of you have any interesting stories for me? Anything that has happened to you or that you've been through?
I hit a dog with my hammer, and it was a really big dog, and it fell over.
Just for fun, roll me a straight charisma check on that. You're referring to the bear fight, yes?
Yeah.
A big dog.
Straight charisma?
Yes, please.
Where's my charisma? Okay. Oh, good lord. That'll be a 16.
16, that's pretty good.
Oh wait, I'm sorry, that's 18. I forgot to add.
You're good.
16 on the die with a +2 modifier.
Beautiful. Even better.
Math.
Yeah. So he listens to your story and he smiles and nods. A bit simple, but there's nothing wrong with directness, is there? So few people embrace being concise these days, I find. As he's saying that and you're sort of sipping your tea and engaging with your little cup, there's a sort of warmth that passes through you. You have 5 temporary hit points that exist until they are consumed.
Nice.
Girl, before I forget, do we long rest?
You long rested at the farm. I don't think you've spent any resources since then.
No, I'm just asking because I'm at 13 of 20.
Oh.
Oh,
yeah.
that was from. Wait, no. JK.
Yeah, no. You took that damage at the shack because you fell through the floor, and then the farm was after that. So yeah, you should be all healed up.
I like
Um,
how we updated our character with the slideshow bits and we didn't update our HP. Whoops.
that's on you. You
Oh,
fixed all the images. I don't know.
I didn't. Okay, fine. Yeah. I mean, I fixed
God.
parts of it, but people were supposed to like double check it. It's not up.
I know
It's
that
all
is on me. That is on me for sure. Um, I have so many spinning plates, and the porcelain is shattered around my feet. Um, but
Hi,
after
Daisy.
Cesario's, what's that?
No, it's a joke. Making jokes.
Oh, I didn't hear you. I'm sorry.
You're good.
Just called you Daisy.
Oh,
Oops, a
that's
daisy.
fair. Yeah, no, that 100% on purpose. Um, he looks to Laurel after Cesario's story and just. And what about you? You've told me a little of where you're from, but have you seen or experienced anything interesting?
Oh, I mean, every day is a blessing. Every day brings something new and exciting. Um, I don't know if there's anything particularly out of the ordinary that I've experienced that other people haven't, but it is always exciting. I agree with you. It's really exciting to hear other people's tales. When I was
That's
growing
good.
up, I'd hear plenty of tales from visiting nobles who would talk about all sorts of different things that were happening. We'd be able to travel to different places, get to learn a little bit more about customs in different places too. It was always quite interesting.
Excuse me, I'll be right back. I'm sorry.
No,
All
you're good. Do you have a favorite of the stories you heard or the people you interacted with? Ooh.
Well, I don't necessarily know if I have a favorite to say, but I do find really fascinating all the stories of dragons that I hear. And I know, dragons aren't real, but
He
some of the stories that we hear seem
when you
so real.
when you mention dragons, his smile just like deepens and he just has this very very broad, self-satisfied grin. Dragons are absolutely real.
Pardon?
Yes. I've met a couple in my time. I'm far older than I look. And Cricket, there's a deeper truth there that you're pretty sure you kind of pick up on. Um, Still writing that nat 20 a little bit. Something about the way the sun hits his skin, something about the way he moves. There's definitely a lot more age than shows visibly. Um, but to Laurel, just I'm really sorry. What was the last thing you said? My brain just.
I was talking about how like she really doesn't have a favorite story, but she likes hearing the stories about dragons. She knows they're not real. Then you said, "Oh, they are absolutely real," and she's like, "What? Really?"
Right. Yes. Oh yes. Quite a few of them can be. Well, as I'm told anyway, they're what's the word? They're dangerous and greedy and the like, but some of them can be quite pleasant company.
Which ones?
Follow. What's the term? Follow the shiny more than the colorful.
Oh, the shiny. And
Yes.
she just kind of like nods a little bit about that. It's like, okay, it's a cricket like shiny things. I suppose that makes sense.
Roll me just a straight charisma check.
Straight charisma. Okay.
Yes, please.
Charisma.
I am back.
Hooray.
Yeah, sorry, boss called.
No, you're good.
7.
Oof. You don't experience.
That's not
this...
lucky. Totally lucky. It's a 7.
I mean, if you had called invert before, but
Do we get to call invert?
I'll say
Is that
yeah.
is that a
It's
thing?
a server. It's a server
Yes!
rule. I'll say you can call invert. Sure.
Oh, I haven't done
I
invert in so long.
forgot that was a thing.
I love invert. Okay.
For those following along at home, invert is a rule of Tiff's from her servers that before you roll the dice, you can call invert. And if you do so, essentially it reverses it. So the lower numbers are what you're aiming for. A nat 1 in that instance would be the best possible roll, and a nat 20 would be the worst possible roll. It's a rule from her server that very few people take advantage of. It's a rule that I haven't really played with much in my games either. But I'll say yeah, you can call invert in future. You've already rolled the die this time.
In the future.
But
Okay, cool.
but yes, invert is a valid rule at this table, I will say. Yeah, your tea's as you've experienced it thus far, it's normal. Every time you pick up the cup, the little legs do like wiggle. But yeah, it's good tea, but it's not particularly remarkable. You get the impression, well, no, because you didn't know anything was going to happen. Yeah, it's normal tea. And he looks toward what's that?
Good lord. I'm cackling over these little cups. I don't know what's wrong, but they're the funniest thing to me.
No, I love it. It's great. He looks toward Cricket. And what about you, my mimicking little friend?
Cricket is. We're outside, right?
Yeah. Yes, you are.
Fantastic. I think Cricket is going to go ahead and draw the same little comic strip
Sure.
they drew the night before.
What did I make you roll before? Was it sleight of hand?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, roll sleight of hand with advantage because you've already done it. Fantastic.
27.
Yeah, I mean it's maybe not quite as good. The ground's a little more clumpy here than it was there, so it's not quite as clean as you might have preferred, but yeah, you draw your little backstory comic. If you don't mind, could you go ahead and describe for us what you have drawn?
Sure thing. So, Cricket kind of like looks at the guy when he asks and just kind of like hops back a little bit, takes out their dagger and starts drawing into the dirt. It's a little bit longer than the previous comic strip, we'll say. Just a little bit of like added before and after.
Sure.
But depicts a day of Cricket playing some cards, going into a tavern, jumping up onto one of the bar stools, and a man next to Cricket orders a drink. But as soon as that drink comes out, Cricket snags the drink and starts trying to like scuttle away really quickly. And the man gets upset because he just paid for a drink that just got stolen and starts chasing Cricket out of the tavern, yelling at him.
Awesome. Go ahead and roll a charisma check for me. Just straight d20 plus your charisma roll.
Heard. 5.
All right. Give me a moment. Oop, wrong thing. Just needed to adjust the interface a little bit because our dice have reached the bottom of the line. Anyway, so he takes a few minutes to sort of look over the comic, and he seems to enjoy what you've depicted. He laughs at the chase. He absorbs it. Has Cricket been drinking their tea, or have they just been like holding it?
They've just kind of been holding it for the time being, trying to wait to see if Cesario or Laurel have any adverse reactions to it.
Okay. Go ahead and make a perception check. Just see if you notice anything about either of them.
14.
That's not too bad. You don't notice anything. You don't notice anything happening, strictly speaking. But while you don't necessarily notice anything good, you also don't notice anything bad. Laurel is still very nervous, so I imagine her hands are shaking and she keeps nervously looking at the cup. But that's a little to be expected. You've been with her for several days now. You kind of know what she's like. But they don't seem to be getting sleepy or, reacting visibly toward the tea in any way. It seems fine. It seems like tea. Toric similarly as well, just not really reacting in any noticeable sense.
In that case, Cricket is going to make intense, prolonged eye contact with the man who served the tea and will take a small sip.
Ooh, she does drink beverages. Good to know. I do so adore the way you've worked around your little speech problem. It's remarkably creative. I shall have to keep that in mind for future use. Just creating drawings instead of words. In any case, and he sort of like, he stands back to his full height after sort of like hunching over the comic and just like claps his hands and just, I shan't keep you any longer. Thank you so much for joining me. It's so wonderful to have company for tea time. You looked like you all had a very important mission on your hands.
Yes.
Just, yes. I love it. So he sort of like walks you back to your cart and gives each of you a little satchel of the tea that he made for you, like the mix of, tea types and stuff. So you have tea if you want it. But you are off on your way. I don't remember how far away I said you were from Summit before, but we're going to say that, you spend the rest of the day sort of traveling towards Summit and get there a few hours before dark. Summit is, of course, a coastal city, hence catching a boat. But the way it's sort of situated, the elevation is at its highest where you guys are coming from, where you're coming at it from the road. And it sort of descends toward the sea. So when you first come in, you look out across, you look out over a lot of the city, and see the ocean and see the ships in the dockyard and all of these things. Toric will give you sort of a ride down to the docks. The road winding down the elevation is a really long, snaking road, so that this descent is never particularly steep. But eventually, you guys get down to the docks, and all of you hop off and find yourselves staring at a few different ships in the harbor and a bustling shipyard. There are people moving crates to certain ships. There are people moving objects from different ships. Give me a moment to change the ambiance. It always takes a few seconds for Foundry to load stuff. Come on, do the thing.
While we are looking out over everything, Laurel just kind of sits. She kind of pulls her robes in her hands and kind of wrings it a little bit, just feeling the fabric between her fingers to calm down a little bit and just use that as a soothing feeling. I'm like, okay, it's soft, it feels good.
Yeah,
Things
absolutely.
Are good. Things are fine. Things are good.
Roll. Actually, no, I'm not gonna put that behind a die. Yeah. So you help you stim a little and calm yourself down a little bit. I guess question there is this more stimming for her, or is this more like a coping mechanism? Not that stimming isn't, but you know what I mean, I think.
Haven't really thought about it. I just kind of put a little bit of myself in there without thinking about it, and it makes sense that it's probably more of a stim than anything else.
Beautiful.
It's something that she's doing to kind of relax and calm down and bring herself back to happy regulation.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, great. All three of you roll history checks for me, just to see if you can remember which ship you're looking for, like which one you're here to meet. Which I foolishly did not tell you out loud before things, and I'm sorry. But that's why there's a history check.
18
We're gonna
for Cricket.
invert this one.
Go for it. I can't wait to see that nat 20.
Oh, I forgot it.
It's a 10, but that becomes an 11, which means it's a 12.
Which is slightly worse.
No.
I was about to type that in.
With an invert roll, it absolutely is.
A 10 becomes worse. A 10 doesn't become an 11.
With calling invert, you want it to be as low as possible, right?
Right, and 10 is a 10. And then you flip that 10 to become an 11, and it becomes a 12. So that's still...
In any case,
It's like rolling.
I will say Cricket's the main one who remembers. You
I should
are
hope so.
looking. I forgot to pull up my thing, my notes on my phone. Give me a moment. I am a fool. Where am I? There it is. There we are. All right, so yeah, the ship you're looking for is something called the Golden Augur. It's a ship called the Golden Augur, not something. It was in the like document that detailed your mission, which I'll say one of you is carrying. You would have brought that with you on account of needing to know what you're doing.
Cricket has it. She's the responsible, or they're the responsible one.
Okay, yeah, so you have the document with the ship's name on it. What do you do with that information, I suppose?
Cricket will go ahead and pull out the document and, like, with their little, like, feathered fingers, try to, like, point at the word. Maybe it makes it through, or maybe the feather just covers the word, but either way, we'll point it out a few times.
I'm not trying to pad that hard. You successfully point out the word on the page. So yeah, you're looking for the Golden Augur. All of you, go ahead and roll me a perception check, please.
I'm gonna call inverted for this one.
Go for it.
Of course. God. 40. I hate everything.
I should have called invert for that one.
Okay, so here's a really good quick aside relating to our recent episode of Downtime. Low rolls do not necessarily mean a failure, or rather, they don't have to. They might mean that it takes you a long time to succeed, or that you succeed in a way that is unfavorable, messy, unstable, sloppy, whatever. That's the same thing as messy, but in any case, in this case, it just takes you. Oh, that 16 perception inverted. Oh.
We're all just kind of like
Cesaria's dice are just real unreliable for him. It takes you guys a good while. Whether it's because of the noise and sort of hustle of the dockyard, or because it's an unfamiliar location, or whatever the reason might be, it takes you the better part of an hour to find the ship that you're looking for. And you get knocked into a few times by a big box or a cart that's moving, like a wheelbarrow kind of cart, not like a horse and buggy. But eventually, you do find it. It's not a very big vessel, but it is docked and sort of looks like it's ready to go. The flag flying above it shows it's like a what's the word? It's like a seafoam green sort of flag, maybe a little darker. And in the middle of it is a large dragon eye with swords crossed behind it. I'm making motions like it matters on camera. Anyway, um, but you do see in a very like elegant sort of script the golden auger painted on the side of the boat. It looks like this vessel is probably more built for speed than anything. Though you do see a few cannons, you do see a couple of harpoons on the deck. But you have found your boat. Do you attempt to go aboard? What do you want to do with this information?
Laurel has been too busy just kind of staring out at the sea. And she has to be kind of pulled along to find the boat because she's just like captivated by the beauty of the sun on the sea and the reflection on the water.
Well, and by the time you have found the boat, it is actually getting somewhat close to dusk. It's still a little ways out, but the sun is setting to the west, to your left as you're along the docks, and it has lit up the water. Lighted? That seems wrong. Anyway,
lit works.
It is visually stunning, and of course, it is ocean for as many miles as you could hope to count away from you. So it's just beautiful golden surface, broken occasionally by something breaching the surface or by just the motion of the ocean.
It's hypnotizing and it's just so pretty. And she's trying to like get all the colors just committed to memory. And just a little smile on her lip. Like, oh.
I posted a picture in Stream Prep.
Yeah. So pretty.
But yeah, as you're sort of looking at the ocean and the other two are sort of looking at the boat, you do see people sort of milling about on the deck. Someone's climbing the center mast to get to the crow's nest, and a couple of people are cleaning the deck or cleaning some object or other on the deck, prepping something, whatever the case may be. But a lot of them just look like ordinary crew people. They don't have anything particularly remarkable about them.
Cricket is about to race to that crow's nest. High vantage point. Heck
Do you?
Yeah.
Do you?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's say just roll me an initiative check, not because you're getting into combat, but just to see how fast you are getting up there.
All right, I'm gonna have to roll that separate because we're not in combat. It's /R, correct?
Oh, just call it a dexterity. Just call it a dexterity check.
That's so true, so real. I always forget about that.
As a Kenku rogue, you don't have any additional bonuses to it, so you should be fine. Okay, great. You're just fast enough. I rolled dice on my side to see like what happened with the crew. So, as Cesario is sort of, for lack of a better way to put this, although it is a little demeaning, as Cesario is kind of babysitting Laurel on the docks and just sort of staring out at the ocean with her, because I imagine he'd have a wistful sort of home, longing for home about it, Cricket just tears off toward the boat faster than either of you can really react. She scampers across the gangplank onto the top deck, and as the crew turns to look at her, I'm so sorry, I said she like 5 times. They just tear off up the mast. As you start climbing, and people are trying to call you down, just hey, get down! Come on, Captain's gonna be mad at you. Come on! and other sorts of things. Roll an athletics check to see if you can get up there faster than the person who's also climbing.
Could I argue acrobatics?
You could not. This is just a straight up climb. Well, do you have an argument for me? Can you convince me that it's acrobatics? What do you do to make it acrobatics?
I would say to try to get out of the way, or like out of like the visual way of some of the other crew members is probably uh like hopping side to side and like kind of, oh, what's the word I'm looking for? Like back and forth diagonally up.
Okay.
Cricket's
I
hitting with the longest yard at the mast.
I will allow it. Go ahead and roll acrobatics.
Another 17.
Okay, your dodge and weave is effective. You dodge a few thrown objects. One of them's an empty glass bottle that shatters against the main mast. A couple of pieces of flying fruit just whiz past you. Eventually you reach the other person that was climbing, and they sort of swipe at you trying to stop you, and you just like weave around them and end up ahead of them, getting up there. And it takes you a little bit, but you do get up to the crow's nest first. You figure you probably have about 6 to 10 seconds before they are up there with you. What do you do with this brief moment where you have reached the crow's nest first?
Cricket is gonna go ahead and jump up onto like the like banister ledge that's up there,
Mm-hmm.
and we'll just kind of like sit on the side and like look at everything from that. Sorry to make the pun, bird's eye view.
Don't apologize for puns. Never apologize for puns. It admits weakness. Okay, great. Cesario and Laurel. You're not so enamored with the sea that you're oblivious. What do you do after Cricket has sprinted across the ship's deck and up the, or around this time you guys are seeing them as they are like mounting the mast to go up to the crow's nest? What do you do with this knowledge, with this information?
Oh dear. And she'll just kind of like look at Cesario and then kind of look back up at Cricket and point up to where Cricket has run. That's not really something that they should have done, I'm guessing. They're kind of causing a little bit of a ruckus.
Oh yes, they are.
That's we're off to a great start.
Yeah. But this is where we're supposed to be, right? We're supposed to be on this ship.
I hope so. Let's go find out. And he starts walking towards the gangplank.
Yeah.
And
okay, and she'll just follow behind.
Sure.
Kind of like a wiggle to his walk. He's excited to be on the water. It's like a happy puppy, if you will.
Happy.
Yeah,
About to get a
absolutely.
treat.
As you walk onto the deck, an older human man just, is that one of yours? What's going on here?
Yes. That is one of ours.
Why are they doing
they
that?
are one of ours. Trying to get a good view of the sunset.
Make a deception check for me.
While this is happening, as Laurel hears this, her eyes go really wide and she does like that super long, like,
I'm so sorry. I don't know what got into them. They're just kind of like trying to, we're here. This is not the best impression. This is not the impression we're trying to make in any way, shape, or form. I'm so sorry. Bow, bow, bow. Just kind of like, oh my gosh, please forgive us. It's not the thing that we really wanted to do here.
Oh, a nat
That's
20.
A nat 20.
Nice.
Yeah. Folk stuff.
Right, well, I appreciate that they're trying to look at the sunset or whatever. Sure. But why are any of you here? Why this ship? What's going on here?
We have been tasked out by the guild to seek passage to Tyr'Sol.
Oh.
And my friend of many words is extremely excitable.
Can you get that one down? I don't want them to get hurt. Captain will be up here in a moment. You could speak to her about things, but you gotta...
Yeah, yes, of course, of course.
And Laurel will just kind of like hurry across, and she'll cup her hands to her lips and like,
Cricket? Cricket?
Around this time is when you actually do reach the crow's nest, and you are reaching it, like I said, with about 6 to 10 seconds lead on the other person that was climbing it. A young-ish halfling, or not halfling, I'm sorry, half-elf woman. Her hair is really short and sort of like a buzz cut on one side. It looks like it's been sort of sun bleached, and there's a really deep tan on her skin. And she looks ticked. Very, very much ticked at this display. You have about a round to do something up here if you wish to.
Are they just gonna throw me down?
maybe we don't know.
Roll an insight check.
12.
You're not sure.
Nice.
They look mad though. She looks real mad, and things were thrown at you as you were climbing, so maybe.
In that case, I think once Cricket gets up there, like jumps up onto like the little banister, their main goal in mind is to just dodge any attempt of grabbing or anything by like keeping that center mast in between Cricket and the half-elf woman.
Great. Okay.
Like
Meanwhile-
a dog that has something it shouldn't.
Basically, yeah. Down at the bottom, like on the ship's deck, Laurel is just gonna be, Cricket, come on. This is not how we're supposed to. Come. I'll catch you. Just jump.
Do you
Can we see
listen
Cricket?
to Laurel pleading to you?
Cricket just looks down and goes, "Not yet."
Around this time, there's this rush of noise as a door to the lower decks slams open, and there's a brief glimpse that Laurel and Cesario have of a tall, like 6'2", tiefling woman. Both of her horns are sort of broken off a little unevenly on her forehead. She has seafoam green skin and really dark bluish green hair that is in one long braid down her back. Her eyes are this lustrous gold color, and you see patches of gold scales along her shoulders, down her arms, up one side of her neck, and sort of like up around her face, sort of following her hairline and like along her cheek. She slams open the door, looks offended at the noise for a moment, and then like sees Cricket up in the crow's nest attempting to take a defensive position, and sees her her crewmate climbing up after as well, and just takes this deep weary sigh. And there's this really loud noise. Are you familiar with the sound of like shaking out a rug or like whapping a rug to knock the dust out of it?
Yeah.
It kind of sounds like that, like someone shaking a huge 12-foot rug. There's this like rustle and snap, and there's this big rush of air as these two bat-like wings on her back start to beat, and they push off from the deck as she steps out of the doorway and takes off for the crow's nest. And you do see this happen, Cricket. You can infer that this is the captain. She's wearing generally nicer things than most of the crewmates. You see a sort of long, like sleeveless duster coat sort of arrangement. With some like leather items underneath that help sort of protection. Um, she's wearing a tricorn hat, as one might expect. And then you also see on one hip what looks like a pistol. Actually, hold on. Before I canonize that, are firearms a thing more broadly? I know they were for like one character. I don't know if they've really shown up other than that though.
They've shown up in plenty of other places.
Beautiful. I'll keep it in mind. So yeah, a pistol is strapped to one hip, and a saber is strapped to the other. You will note that she has not drawn either yet. But she zips up there. And as the other person climbing sees her, their face has an instant shift to a look of respect and appreciation. And she stops, like she lands on the banister opposite Cricket, and just stands there for a second, staring down at Cricket with these very intense eyes. What are you doing on my ship?
Cricket will go ahead and like brandish the guild pin.
Strangely enough, that doesn't explain anything. You've got my crew worked up. You've got people angry and throwing things. You've caused a heck of a commotion. Why?
Cricket just kind of thinks for a moment and just kind of like tilting their head, trying to gather their words correctly. And just... Sorry. Excited? Conflicted. High up. Cool.
She just stares at you in silence for a second. And very, very slowly, her face shifts into a smirk, into a smile. Right. Well, let's get you down. I don't want you to get hurt. Or for my crew to hurt you. Let's go.
Preferable.
And she puts out a hand. Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, is Laurel still below, holding the position to catch Cricket?
Oh, she absolutely is. She has her, like, she's picked up the bottom hem of her robe to create kind of like a blanket or a net or something, so that if, like, Cricket falls, she can catch her more easily, or catch them more easily.
I'll get out dice now.
Fantastic.
Choice. Sorry, I'm feeling very chaotic today.
No, go for it.
I love anything to do with pirates, so like it really amps up the chaos.
Please.
Cesario is going to stand back and watch the chaos unfold.
You're so helpful.
This is primetime entertainment.
Indeed.
All right, so are you implying, or stating rather, that Cricket is just jumping?
Yes, but before that, Cricket is going to go ahead and look at the outstretched hand and just place a little shiny rock into her hand and then just take a step back off of the banister.
Oh, shit. Okay. I mean, oh, shoot. Oh, shoot is what I said. Okay, great.
Backwards.
Laurel and Cricket, both of you roll dexterity saving throws for me.
Heard. And while I know that Kenkus don't technically have flight, could Cricket still like bat their wings a little bit to kind of like give them more precision in their landing?
No mechanical benefit, but you can certainly try.
Okay.
18.
Okay.
22.
Nice.
Beautiful. So while you are a notably flightless bird, you do manage to sort of control your descent to an extent. And mercifully, Laurel is not trying to catch you with just her bare arms. But you do sort of crash into her, sort of. I said sort of like 6 times. Anyway, you fall into the blanket, but you do like pull her down with you, and both of you end up prone on the deck. But fortunately, between your flapping and the blanket and just sort of the way everything's arranged, you don't take any damage from this, mercifully. Depending on how the rolls went, one or both of you could have ended up taking damage from that fall. But as you sort of lay there for a moment on the deck, the shiny rock falls and just like plops on your, like bounces off of your off of Cricket's head and clatters to the deck next to them. And then a second later, the captain lands beside you. I can't tell if that was guts or just being stupid. But you look like you did all right with it. Now, and she looks at all 3 of you. I would really, really like an explanation.
Laurel will slowly sit back up so that she's like, just basically pulling herself up to a seated position and just kind of like shake out her hair a little bit. Like,
Um, I mean, an explanation for what exactly? I mean, we're happy to give you one. We just need to know what you're wanting
Who
explained.
are you?
Oh,
Why are you on my
I'm
boat?
Laurel.
Why are
Yes,
you making a ruckus?
that's too many questions at once. Hold on. First, I'm Laurel. This is Cricket, and this is Cesario. The second question, boat. We're on the boat because we wanted to go to Tyr'Sol, and we were told that we were supposed to come here in order to get passage to Tyr'Sol. Ruckus. We weren't trying to make a ruckus. The ruckus was not something we were actively trying to do. It's just something that sort of happened. Cricket got a little excited. They wanted to go up there and kind of see what was going on up at the really high. They really like heights. It's a bird thing. I'm not entirely sure. I mean, like, I'm not a bird. I don't fully understand it, but it's something that you've seen birds do that, right?
Cricket just kind of has their beak open, and you just hear a ha 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 ha. Just a little laughter over and over again.
Right. Oh, I understand. Maybe next time start with the introductions, yeah? Welcome to the Golden Auger. I am, well, I suppose most of my crew call me Captain Fortune, but you can call me Miss Fortune. Do you understand?
Yes.
Good. We spend most of our time ferrying people back and forth across the Kythosian Sea. But every once in a while, your little guild pays me a handsome sum to do some errand or other. Today, that is you. You're lucky it was paid in advance, or I'd be asking for 100 gold each. Is there anything you need to do before we set off?
Uh,
she'll just kind of look around at everybody, and her face is just beet red at this point, just completely embarrassed about everything that's going on. She just like shakes her head.
no. We're okay. I'm okay. I can't speak for everybody necessarily, but I'm okay.
Cricket will go ahead and get themselves off of the deck, pick up the shiny rock, hop over to Misfortune, and just extend it out again. Gift.
Everything you've done, and you give me a gift of a rock Fine. We'll call it even. And she puts the rock in one of her pockets. Great. All right. I'll show you to your quarters then. Would you prefer to wait until morning to go out, or would you like to arrive at Tyr'Sol in the night?
I think morning probably wise.
It's really whatever is like easier for you. Really, we've already caused enough trouble. If you were wanting to go earlier, we could absolutely go earlier. If you wanted to wait, I can make dinner. I am very good at making dinner. I can definitely go
All
and do
right,
something
hold on. You're very sweet, and I appreciate the apologies, really, but it's too much. Chill, calm down.
Okay.
This one's a bit jumpy, isn't she? All right.
On a good day.
And she looks toward Cricket. Seems like you're the tie-breaking vote. What do you say? Leave in the morning or arrive at night?
Morning. There are ghosts in the mists.
Oh, I'm sorry. Was Ghosts in the Mist in character?
Yes.
Okay. I'm glad I clarified because I thought it was you just like making a reference to something. My bad. That is what I've heard. All right, fine. In the morning it is. In the meantime, just stay out of my crew's way, okay?
Avalon.
I'm sorry?
Question.
Yeah, I'm here. What's up?
Do they wear any sort of religious iconography?
Make a perception check.
That is a perception.
I should probably
Okay.
better acquaint myself with the D&D gods. Um,
Could
I
I
really-
really check
16.
too before Cesario does something that is going to get us thrown off the ship?
Or we get a ship.
You're level 2. I don't know how easy it would be for you to organize a mutiny. If that's the story y'all want to tell, though, you're welcome to try, I suppose.
Could I make that perception check too?
Yeah, go for it.
I'm not gonna do anything rash.
You don't have to do anything rash. All you have to do is say who you worship, and that's rash.
So, both of
Breathing.
you do a bit of a look around at the crew. You don't see any iconography for Umberly outright. There are a lot of symbols that are sort of thrown around here. Some people might have like a belt buckle or something to that effect, but there isn't a lot by way of jewelry. Just because it gets in the way. But you see the odd tattoo of some god or other. It looks like a wider range of faiths are on the boat, but you don't see any obvious marks of Umberly present.
Okay. I was just seeing if there's anything in particular, not Umberly specifically.
Are you
Laurel
looking?
will just kind of like pull Cesario aside, just kind of be like,
Maybe we should cover your belt buckle.
Are either of you expecting to see anything specific? Again,
No,
I'm really
just-
sorry. I haven't really spent a lot of time with Wizards of the Coast's pantheons or with their lore. So I'm not super well acquainted with them. I spend a lot more time in the homebrew sector. So if you're
Oh, no,
looking for
fine.
like
I
a...
was just-
Go ahead.
I was just
Sorry.
checking. No, you're fine. I was just doing the look-sees.
Yeah. You recognize a symbol here or there. You know, someone's tattoo or a patch on someone's jacket or something to that effect from different gods. It doesn't seem like there's any kind of like, you know, everyone on this ship worships Tyr or anything of that sort of nature. But
Yeah.
Yeah, you recognize a few symbols here and there, but nothing particularly noteworthy. You're not going to make any mortal enemies on sight or anything of that sort. Um, yeah,
Laurel is still going to make the
yeah, go for
high
it.
suggestion to Cesario, just kind of pulling him aside, like,
Okay, so a lot of people tend to be really superstitious about your goddess, and maybe making everybody aware that she's your goddess might not be the best course of action here. Maybe we should try to keep that a little bit secret for right now.
Cesario looks down to his entire getup, looking like one of the soldiers of Umberlee. It's like,
We can try.
little,
I've got like a
a little,
cloak somewhere, I think, right?
little late for that. Like, I can try, but I'm not gonna make any promises.
We just won't bring it up unless it's asked. Is that fair?
Yeah,
Okay,
sure.
that's good. We'll go with that then. Just as long as we don't bring it up. Maybe they won't bring it up. Everybody will be fine. It'll be great. No one will get thrown overboard. Okay.
That's Cesario's
Why
out.
do we get thrown overboard?
Why? Well, uh,
Make
you
a
don't really.
Laurel. Make a religion check.
okay, what do I know versus what does she know? And religion. Okay. I'm gonna invert this. Dang, I shouldn't have inverted it. So 16, what's the flip of a 16? Is a 5, so that's a 6.
Never mind. Carry on. Cesario, if you want to make one, go for it.
Is this along the same lines of "Don't piss off the Church of Umberlee" kind of deal?
Actually,
Because
yeah,
we're on a
we've
boat.
talked about that before. Yeah, Cesario specifically, you would also know just because it's your church. The vibe around Umberlee is never invite her, don't incur her attention, but don't do anything to tick her off either. And knowing that, they likely wouldn't take hostile action against her faithful unless something was, you know, unless something instigated it. Like if you started fighting people on the deck or something. It's not. It is considered extremely bad luck to do something to incur her wrath. Yeah, so do with that what you will, but
Yeah, no, it's like we're fine. We're fine. We'll be fine.
Okay, just.
Gonna give Laurel a gentle head pat. Pat, pat.
I'm not a dog.
all
I
our
didn't say
dogs.
you were a dog.
I appreciate that, I think.
You were a friend. And friend get pets. Whether dog or people's.
I'm.
Friend.
Oh, okay. Alright, sure.
Are you not friend?
No, I'm friend. I'm a good friend. It's. Never mind. We'll just keep going. It's fine.
What is Cricket doing during all of this now that they have been encouraged down from the crow's nest and sort of. And Cesario and Laurel are having this conversation. What is Cricket doing?
So.
Oh,
I
I love the tone. Go on.
So, I think, for one, Cricket really likes the captain because shiny scales. Um, and also likes the captain because they did not immediately kick Cricket off of the ship for causing mayhem. So I think Cricket is just like slowly hopping and following the captain around and just taking a look at the ship, occasional glances up to the crow's nest, but just kind of hopping around for right now.
Sure. Every time you and the captain pass like a different crew member or whatever, the cricket, good lord, Misfortune introduces you as her shadow over and over, just every time. Just, and have you met my shadow? Apparently, I have a new one today.
Shadow. And Cricket will mimic Laurel's little bow to people, but more so just in a tilt of the head, and we'll just go shadow every time passing a new crew member.
Amazing. All right, great. So you guys are shown to your quarters and the like. And they're really meager. It's not so much a specific room as it is more like a general space where passengers stay. Really simple lodgings. You get the impression that this isn't like a luxury cruise kind of ship. It's more just like, I need to get from point A to point B, and you're a fast ship. Let's go. But you're shown to your lodgings. The dinner on the ship is a really simple stew with something called hardtack. Are either of you, or any of you, unfamiliar with hardtack? Because I don't know if I want to go into it. I mean, I can just go into description regardless, but
It's
I'm
just
curious to know.
basically a very thick cracker.
Kinda, yeah.
It's a hammer.
Kinda, yeah.
It could be a
Edible
bludgeon.
rock.
Kinda, yeah. It's like a piece of wood that you're supposed to chew on. No, not really, actually. Yeah, it's a particular kind of dried, hardened wheat good that was sometimes crushed and used to thicken up cooked things and other assorted ways. It was a way to sort of fill out a meal, or it could be anyway. Yeah, so it's a really simple food. You can also rely on your rations if you want to, but you have your night, and then in the morning, the ship sets sail. Roll, Cricket, roll me a persuasion check.
18?
Great. Yeah, that's really good. Especially for you. I didn't realize you had a -1 to charisma.
Not very charismatic for a creature with very little words.
No, that tracks. It takes a little bit of convincing, and you spend a lot of your evening before the morning, sort of doing so by just like constantly, not constantly, but like frequently, sort of pestering the captain about it. In the morning, she pulls you aside before they set sail and just, all right, tell you what, you're only going to be on my ship for a few more hours. Go on, get up there. You can be in the crow's nest until you leave.
Cricket very excitedly nods and will give the captain a few more shiny rocks. And maybe Cricket is going to hand over the crown that they had bought at the mining place. We'll hand it over to the captain and just go, fake. Good. Believable. Fake.
Her face lights up at being given this shiny crown. Fake or not, it is still a crown and it is still shiny. And she fiddles with it for a moment, and essentially works it into the tricorn hat so she can wear it at the same time. So in the center of the tricorn hat, inside the 3 points, is that crown, and you just see a few large sort of spires of the crown poking through the center of the hat. It's perfect. All right, go on, get up there.
Cricket will excitedly nod, flap the wing a little bit, and then scurry on up the crow's nest.
Beautiful. Just for fun, throw me an acrobatics check, please.
Ooh. 9.
There's not a sense of danger or thrill to it this time. Not in the same way, anyway. It's a different kind of excitement and whatnot. So it takes you a little bit longer to get up. You're not quite as you're not riding that sort of adrenaline rush that you were the first time. So it's a little unsteady here and there. It's a little slow going here and there, but eventually you do get up to the top. Um, and halfling woman with the side shave is up there already, and she has a spyglass. And so you're my what? My assistant for the day?
Shadow.
My shadow. Great. Okay, well, just keep an eye out and I guess try not to cause any problems again.
Ha ha ha. Cricket. Great eye.
We'll see. Do Cesario and Laurel try to do anything in the morning? Is there anything? Does Cesario do the expected rite that he's supposed to do? I guess question
He'll
on
do
that.
it.
What is your sort of plan with that? Are you trying to do it like before you leave the main island, after you arrive on Tyr'Sol?
I was gonna do it in transit.
Okay, great.
That
Then
way
we will.
it's in the middle of the ocean, not where, not in the harbor.
Yeah, no, I
Where
get you.
yeah.
Okay, cool. So then, does Laurel have anything that she wants to do before you all set off? Yeah.
As always, she'll do like her morning prayer. I'm not gonna say one this time, but she'll give her thanks to Lathander. She'll ask for blessings on the adventure. She'll do all that other cool, fun stuff. And just...
Great. Okay. Good to know. All right. So you guys set off. Are both Cesario and Laurel on the top deck? Does Laurel just like hide in her room?
Laurel would absolutely hide in her room unless she felt like she was able to like contribute in some way to like the galley or whatever.
The captain is largely against the idea of y'all helping.
And she is in her room and not making a sound.
Beautiful. Does she get seasick? I'm curious to know.
Ooh, let's find out.
While she's rolling that, oh, there you go. Okay. I'll say you don't. Maybe a little queasy here and there, you know, if the boat rocks particularly hard, but you're okay. Cesario, I'm
Yes.
assuming you try to sneak off to do your little rite?
Uh, he'll uh he'll be at the aft portion of the boat, just kind of like out of sight, out of mind, just staying away from people.
Sure. Roll me a stealth check. This is just to sort of see if you can like time it when people aren't, you know, patrolling or doing whatever. If you can sort of successfully disappear from the public perception, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So go ahead and roll a stealth check for me. Are you
Yeah.
wearing your armor while doing this?
No, he feels safe on the water.
Okay. So then you don't have to worry about you usually have disadvantage, right? Because of your armor?
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, you don't have to worry about that this time.
No, you know what? I'm gonna burn my inspiration.
Roll first. You may not need it.
It's a 12.
Oh, okay. Yeah, go for it then. Sorry.
Nice. Natural 20 stuff.
Beautiful. Yeah, you know exactly what you're doing on the open water, and it is very easy for you to slip around people, slip away from people, you know, just timing your movements with the rocking of the boat, timing your movements with the crash of waves against the side, or any other noise that might be present, like wind. You find yourself in an isolated portion back end of the ship. What does Cesario do for this rite? What do you say? What do you do?
Cesario pulls out the box, making sure everything's in it once more, before sealing it up and keeping the key. It's a pretty cool key. It can be manufactured for other boxes and stuff.
Yeah.
He utters a simple funeral prayer, wishing the I think I wrote it down. Leaning towards I probably didn't. Play your journal. Start your journal.
While he's looking that up, Cricket, give me a perception check, please.
Yep. But Cesario is just doing simple funeral rite. He's taking 10 minutes to essentially ritual cast the ceremony spell.
Sure. Yeah. Okay, great. So you spend your time doing that, speaking over the remains and, wishing this person passage to their afterlife and all of that, dedicating them to your goddess. And as the last item hits the water, the first thing you feel is this wave of security, largely because ocean, but a sense of doing well. But then there's this drive at the back of your mind for a moment. Roll a straight wisdom check for me.
I'm gonna invert this one.
Okay.
Yeah, that tracks. What's my wisdom modifier? Oh, 0. Wisdom check?
Yes, please.
And then Cricket got a 23 for that perception.
Yep. I saw you. 3. A 3 inverted, so good. What is that? 17?
It's a 17, yeah. Roughly.
You feel like you are being called away from Dragonhead, away from Tyr'Sol. You're not entirely sure what it means yet. It might be something that you need to investigate further, mentally. But you do feel like while this was a good thing and you needed to be here to take care of this, it is not believed that you need to be here any longer. We will return to that thought after a while. Cricket, your 23 perception check from the crow's nest.
Yes.
Your crow's nest companion speaks very, very little. Whether that's because she doesn't want to talk to you or because she doesn't want to talk, period, you can't really say. But the two of you keep watch, and yeah, you are indeed, you do indeed have good eyes. You keep a watch over the ocean as you guys travel, and nothing particularly noteworthy happens for the most part. But one thing you do notice is what isn't happening. You don't really see any sea creatures near or breaking the surface between Dragonhead and Tyr'Sol. I'm gonna move the token real quick. There we go. In that sort of strait between the islands, there's almost no creatures of any kind. And that is something odd. But nothing particularly noteworthy happens as you travel. Eventually, the ship starts slowing as the mists come into view, coiling across the water, and as the tallest spires of the central castle are looming over the fog and in the distance. That is where we will end tonight's portion of The Curse of Tyr'Sol. I'm so sorry. I had it all in my head, and then I immediately lost it all. Thank you so much for joining us, all of you. We will be taking our usual 15-minute break, and we will be back after that for our session of For Hire.
See you soon.
Getcha.